Hello, this is a short video presentation on absolute value equations. First of all, we need to look at what does absolute value mean. Well, number one, the symbol that we use are two vertical lines. And our equations could look like x minus 3, the absolute value of x minus 3 is equal to 5. Absolute value is the distance from x to 3. Distance is always positive. Always. How far do you live from school? 3 kilometers. Not negative 3, it's 3. Or 4 or 5 or 10. So let's look at the number line. Alright, here is our number line. The distance from some point called x to the number 3 has to be 5. So if I go to the right, the distance 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This point is x. And if I go the other direction, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is also x. Or here, I see that x is larger than 3, so x minus 3 is equal to 5. And here I see that x is smaller, it's a negative number, so x minus 3 would equal negative 5. But since the absolute value, the distance, is always positive, we say that from here to here is 5 units. All right, how do I solve absolute value equations? When we solve absolute value equations, the first thing we want to do is isolate the absolute value. Then, without the absolute value, we write two equations. Positive and negative. Then we solve. And lastly, we check. All right, so let's look at an equation. 5 plus 2 times the absolute value of x plus 4 equals 11. Step 1 is to isolate. We want to get this absolute value all by itself. All right? Sometimes it really helps if you just take a highlighter and highlight it. So, we subtract 5. 2 times the absolute value of x plus 4 equals 6. Divide both sides by 2. And the absolute value of x plus 4 equals 3. We have isolated the absolute value. Now, step 2, without the absolute value symbol, write two equations. So I take what's inside and I write it down 2 times. X plus 4 equals, and right next to it, side by side, I write the other equation. We equal 3 or we equal negative 3. And then we solve. Minus 4, minus 4, x equals negative 1, minus 4, minus 4, x equals negative 7. To check, we have to check 2 times. We have to put it into the original equation, 5 plus 2, absolute value of x plus 4 equals 11. So I have 5 plus 2, absolute value, negative 1 plus 4, and absolute, or 5 plus 2 times negative 7 plus 4 equals 11. So I get 5 plus 2, absolute value of 3. The absolute value of 3 is a positive 3. All right? Positive 3 equals 11. 5 plus 6 equals 11. 11 equals 11. All right. 5 plus 2 times negative 3. Absolute value of negative 3 is a positive 3. Equals 11. 5 plus 6. And 11 equals 11. This problem then had 2 answers. Negative 1 and negative 7. Put both numbers in our solution set. All right, let's just go. All right, let's go quickly over how to set up the problem. Once more, one last time. First of all, we want to isolate this absolute value. So, first thing I'm going to do is subtract 5. And I get negative 2 over absolute value of x minus 4. 2 times the absolute value of x minus 4 over 3 equals 5. Now I want to get rid of the fraction. I'm going to kill the fraction. I could have killed it right off the bat. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 3. 3's cancel. And then I'm going to have negative 2 times the absolute value of x minus 4 equals 15. I divide by negative 2, and the absolute value of x minus 4 equals negative 15 halves. Now, remember, first of all, the absolute value, this guy right here, is isolated. So I want to make 2 equations, except, what's going on here? Absolute value, which is often abbreviated ABS, is always positive. It's a distance. It can never be negative. There's no solution. It cannot be negative. All right? And since it is, no solution. All right. Remember, when you solve absolute value, get down here, we isolate the absolute value. We get this guy by itself. And then we write two equations with what's inside on one side and this number on the outside, both positive and negative. If my equation looked like this, absolute value of 3x plus 1 equals 7, I'd have 3x plus 1 equals 7, and 3x plus 1 equals negative 7. All right? We always take what's inside and we write it down twice. We take this number, we have it positive, and we have it negative. All right. Hope this helps. Tomorrow we're going to solve some equations. Have a great day, guys.